Okay, we're going to talk about leave and cleave. And this goes, it's right at the heart of Genesis 2:24, and this is where the entire concept of the 224 unit comes from. It's two becoming one. And just to remind you, from Genesis 2:24, it says, "A man will leave his mother and father, and he'll cleave to his wife, and the two shall become one." And we talk about this a lot. We get a lot of information, a lot of communications about this. But listen, this means, and it's not accidental that God says that a man shall leave his mother and father, because men, we tend to keep one foot in, one foot out, right? We tend to keep just a little bit over here just in case, and that's not right. That violates the entire principle of the 224 unit, where everything becomes one. Not your bank account, not your gun collection, not your fishing boat, not your gym membership. Everything becomes one, and leave, and leaving is just as it implies. You have got to leave, physically leave from your mother and father, right? And with your mother and father, their family, doesn't mean you ignore them and you no longer have to have that. You don't cut the relationship, but you have got to actively leave the comfort of your parents' home, right? And that just goes for men. I mean, it goes for men and women. And then cleave. Cleave is an active word. Cleave is to cling to grab onto, to clutch, to become one. So these are both very active commands that God gives when it comes down to pursuing your spouse. It's not just that, oh, well, we got married. Well, what now? Well, we're just married. That's not the case. It is a very active act of relationship, right? Of coming together. And the issue that we address a lot of times is, as far as wanting to go back to mama and daddy, or talking to your padnas, and hanging with your old buddies, and nothing says you got to cut them out. But when you enter into a 224 relationship, that means that your spouse becomes your priority. It's like the center in a center pole in a big tent top, right? You and your spouse have got to be at the center, and when you do, everything else falls into place. If you were constantly jumping from one pole and back to your mom and dad's house, or calling your friends or your maybe ex girlfriend or boyfriend to complain about your spouse, you are absolutely breaking the act of actively cleaving to your spouse. So, being married, goodness gracious, so many people think that the wedding is the finish line. That's just the starter's pistol, right? That is just the very beginning. But we put so much emphasis on that wedding day, and then after that, it seems like it's just an emotional slide. That's because the active nature of getting married ends with being married. I'm married. It becomes a very static, stoic state in your relationship. Instead, when you focus on the 224 concept, as God said in Genesis, and it was very purposeful, that is an active, that you were to leave, you were to cleave, right? And it's just like being in a foot pursuit. You leave the comfort of your vehicle, and boom, and you take off, trying to cleave onto the suspect. So, you know, change your mindset if you're sitting there in this kind of gray season of your life thinking that your marriage is boring, or there's probably something better on the other side. This means that you have exited the active action of pursuing your relationship. So that's what we mean when we talk about, that's the core of the 224 unit relationship, the concept, right? To build a bulletproof marriage, one where it's layered with marital Kevlar. It takes action and activity. And look, we're alpha, in our first responder roles. We're used to getting out and getting after it. So when you come into a marriage, it doesn't become complacent or sedentary. Marriage, if you're pursuing it, is very active, and it's got to be a continual motion of leaving those things that take your focus off of your spouse. You got to leave those things, and you've got to cling, you got to grasp, you got to hold on, you got to love your spouse, and that sets your priorities straight. And when you put your marriage first, your marriage is going to last, right? So Lee and I thank you. We love you. We are praying for you, and we appreciate your sacrifice and your service.